What is going on, YouTube? I'm going to come back with what will likely be my final video of the day today, and it is my 2019 NBA redraft of the lottery. I saw a lot of these done this year, and I think it's interesting to take a look back at the rookie class, especially given how long the offseason was. But I only want to go through the lottery because it's way too early to give up on a lot of the players that were picked in this lottery that won't be present in the redraft. So I wanted to start off. I'm going through. Also wanted to mention too that I'm not using the original pick order. If a team made a trade in this draft, I'm still having them pick in that same spot. I get that some things that changed in the draft might be they might have traded up for a certain player or something like that that altered it, but I'm just keeping the way it was with the picks from last year. Honorable mentions. So combination of guys that were picked higher up the draft boards, I feel like have promise or were close to making it, whatever that be here. First one is Keldon Johnson. He was a late first round pick of the Spurs, I believe, last year. One of the few plus players that was picked at the end of the first round. Value, or he was in the positive in terms of like box plus minus rating, Raptor, and win shares, all that good stuff. So I feel like he had a solid rookie season despite playing, and I think it was less than 24 games. Lou Dort, one of the late breakthroughs of this rookie class, had a really good playoff run with the Thunder in that first round series where they took the Rockets to the brink. I think that Dort will have a promising NBA career. He had the talent level to be a first-round pick coming out of Arizona State, but he wound up going undrafted. Kevin Porter Jr., one of my favorite parts of the Cavs kind of building young core. I believe he was a late first-round pick of the Cavs last year. Had a lot of potential. Excuse me, middle second-round pick. He had a lot of potential coming out of USC. I think he had a lot of the parts of a skill set that you would look for out of a 3-and-D wing or shooting guard. Very athletic, very explosive, shot well from three-point range. He has the physical tools, and again, kind of that elusiveness, that lateral speed to be a plus defender too. Just got to be patient with his game coming along. Jared Culver kind of had a quiet rookie season just because he was playing with the Timberwolves, mostly a bench role. Kind of a net neutral player for most of the season for the Timberwolves, but I think he's still got potential. Top 10 pick for them last year. Daniel Gafford, one of the few second-round picks that I have here. He was really hot coming out of the gates for the Bulls. I cover the Bulls, and I was very impressed with his game, and I think he'll be even better next season now that they have Billy Donovan instead of Jim Boylan. So hop into the lottery redraft. So at number 14, I've got the Celtics in their redraft. They had originally picked Romeo Langford, going with Eric Paschall. Again, one of the pieces of that Warriors really young team that they were just kind of tanking with after Steph and Clay were both known to be out. I mean, Eric Paschall was one of the leaders in win shares among this rookie class, and he was also one of the odds-on leaders to win the Rookie of the Year. Really until Ja started taking off and Zion got back in the mix. But I liked what Paschall brought to the table for the Warriors. I think he'll be a solid role player here a solid role player there for a long time. His efficiency kind of went on the stretch a little bit, but I think he had a lot thrown onto his plate really fast, and I think he'll be a good player for a long time. And given the need to add depth in the front court for the Celtics, I think Eric Paschall would be a good fit. Number 13, I have the Heat. They originally took Tyler Hero, but since he's going higher up in the lottery here, have them taking Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson was one of the biggest reaches for, I think, a lot of people in the first round of the draft last year. He fell to the Suns at I believe it was number 11. Looks like the Timberwolves. I believe he wound up with the Suns. And so he actually worked out pretty well. Yeah, he had a quietly good rookie season, one of the leaders in RPM, box plus minus rating, Raptor, win shares, all that good stuff. And his workload was still pretty big there too. Played in about 57 games, shot about 44% from the field, 39% from three. If he continues to get a bigger role, then I think it would be really special to see what he could do with the Heat. So I think that would be interesting. Number 12, I have the Charlotte Hornets taking the former undrafted free agent, Terrence Davis. Terrence Davis was the next great find for the Raptors, at least among like undrafted free agents and second-round picks. Seems like they have a new one breakthrough every single year. But Terrence Davis, I believe he's the only undrafted free agent signing that I have falling in the lottery. Again, he was really good for the Raptors, especially around that, what was that? like the January, February time frame. Let's see if I can pull up these outline here. Played in 72 games for him. He was an all-rookie team selection. Shot about 46% from the field, 39% from three, averaged about 7.5 points per game, 3.3 rebounds. Yeah, he was really solid. So given that the Hornets need to find someone to command that young core for them, I would really like that kind of that placement for him. I think the original pick there, let's see here. The original pick there for the Hornets was PJ Washington. And again, given that he's sliding further up the draft board, that would still be a nice fit for them. Number 11, I have the Timberwolves taking DeAndre Hunter. I think that Hunter still has a lot of potential. It's just going to take a little bit of time for him to figure it out in the NBA. But if he's going to slip down the draft board, I don't think it would go all that far. Originally picked number 4 by the Hawks. The original pick in the number 11 spot was Cam Johnson. So not too big of a switch there in terms of draft order. Number 10, the Hawks. I believe they originally took Cam Reddish in that spot. Yeah. Originally Cam Reddish. I think Cam Reddish still has potential, but given how inefficient his first season was in the NBA and a lot of the concerns that were validated for him as a rookie, I have the Hawks going with another wing that they could use that would really stand out on defense, and that's Matisse Thybulle. Became a regular part of the Sixers rotation, originally kind of like a late first-round pick. One of the few net positive players very consistently, might be the best defensive player out of this rookie class, at least during his rookie season. I guess Brandon Clark might have a bone to pick there. But again, one of the leaders in win shares, BPM, RPM, averaged here about, 5 points per game, about 2 rebounds, 1.2 assists. But he did play in 65 games for the Sixers, and I think his role will only expand as they bring in Doc Rivers and he gets more settled in with that team. Good fit with the Hawks, just gives them a little bit of much needed support on the wing on the defensive end of the floor. Number 9, the Wizards originally picking Rui Hachimura, and I have them sticking with that pick because Rui Hachimura, again, for a good portion of the season, was in contention for the Rookie of the Year honors, kind of faded off down the stretch as the Wizards got worse and worse. It depends on what you look at out of Rui for efficiency from his rookie season. Again, his performance kind of waned down the stretch as he was given a bigger and bigger role. Ultimately, I think that will be good for him. He ranked in the top 10 for minutes played for any rookie. Played in just under 1,500 minutes. But one of the leaders in win shares, a good rebounder, starting to figure out on offense, and I think that the Wizards would stick with that at number 9. Number 8, the Pelicans, originally selecting here Jackson Hayes. I actually have them taking Brandon Clark now. Brandon Clark, one of the gem finds of many gem finds for the Grizzlies in the 2019 NBA draft. Clark originally went at number 21 to the Thunder and then found his way to the Grizzlies. I believe he had the best BPM in this rookie class. Pretty much led in actually every advanced stat category of anyone that played more than 20 games. Very good player on both ends of the floor. He was a knowingly good defender at Gonzaga, but he started to become a little bit of a better scorer, better shooter. Shot about 62% from the field, about 36% from range during his rookie season with the Grizzlies, and played in, I believe, about 58 games. So big role, and I think that will continue to expand, and I think the Pelicans would have no problem scooping him up at number 8. Number 7, another team that I have keeping their original pick, the Bulls taking Kobe White. In terms of the top 7 on this, or even the top 10, I think Kobe White's one of the least efficient just in terms of his whole rookie campaign numbers. So a lot of the advanced metrics for him were not very good for the season as a whole. He was scorching hot coming out of the All-Star break. Won the Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month in February. He averaged something like 19, 20, something like that points per game after the All-Star break. It's just the season didn't last all that long. It was a shame to see the season cut short because he was starting to have a lot. He had a 3-game stretch where he averaged like 34 points per game near the time that the pause was put in through the pandemic. I think he'll be a special scorer. It was known out of the gates that it was going to take a little bit of time for him to get going. And maybe this is the time where he's finally found his groove. Number 6, I have the Phoenix Suns, who originally took here. I believe it was, the name's slipping my mind right. Sorry. Number 6 here is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I believe they had swapped there. Yeah, they had swapped there with the Suns. Sorry. Okay, so swap it here. Suns at number 11, Timberwolves at number 6, because the Timberwolves had originally taken here Jarrett Culver at number 6, the product out of Texas Tech. But instead here I have them taking Jackson Hayes. Originally the number 8 pick of the Pelicans, the former Texas Longhorn, again, one of the win share leaders, one of the BPM leaders, mainly with Jackson Hayes, the physical tools, the athleticism literally jumped off the page at you from the outset of Summer League. I don't know if it was really more of a product of his situation, but a lot of like the ceiling that was put on him entering the draft, he's starting to shed a lot of that doubt. He's actually starting to expand his game, expanding his shooting ability. I believe he shot about 68% from the field, 67%, but about 65% from the line. He was continually improving as his rookie season moved along. He was starting to stretch his game out just from like 3 to 6 feet from the rim. So I think he could be a really special player over the long haul. Again, still a pretty raw talent, but I think he will be pretty good for a while in the NBA. And I think the Timberwolves, again, would have no problem swapping that pick for Jarrett Culver. Number 5, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers originally selecting Darius Garland, which was one of the more confounding picks in the lottery last year. For PJ Washington, the forward out of Kentucky, and one of multiple forwards in this class that I was impressed with. He's one of the more promising parts of the Hornets young core right now. If you had to put a staple together for them, I think it would either be him or Devontae Graham. But the Cavaliers could really use the help in the front court rotation and kind of help build out that young core. PJ Washington was one of the more impressive rookies on both ends of the floor. Capped out, I believe, at exactly 2 win shares. Again, a lot of the advanced metrics for him were pretty much averaged out to a net neutral, but his game continued to improve as the season moved along too. Again, one kind of was one of those dark horses for the rookie of the year for much of the season. And number 4, and so I will preface on this, I was having a hard time kind of deciding outside of the top 3 at number 4 and 5. But at number 4, I have the Hawks originally selecting DeAndre Hunter in this slot, going with Tyler Hero, the shooting guard, combo guard out of Kentucky. Hero originally fell 13th to the Heat, but obviously he was a really good offensive player throughout his rookie season. Really broke through in the playoffs as well, and I think he'll be a good kind of quality starter in the NBA for at least a decade, and definitely deserves to fall in the top 5. Just in terms of the Hawks situation, I know Hero will probably eventually turn into more of a high usage player, especially if he was on a team like the Hawks. But I really like what he brings to the table just in terms of taking some of the scoring pressure off of Trae Young. Number 3, I got the Knicks taking RJ Barrett, who was their original draft pick. By no means was he one of the top 3 most efficient or productive rookies this season, but I think it's hard to kind of quantify his rookie season with the Knicks just because I don't think there was any situation where he was going to be ultra efficient given the volume of looks that he had. He was one of the points per game leaders from the rookie class, I believe, finished 3rd. I think it was right in order of 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it was Zion, John, and RJ. Shot about 40% from the field, about 32% from 3. The most concerning part was about the 61.5% from the free throw line. He was a net negative player in almost every sense, but again, I think he'll continue to improve, especially if the Knicks can have a good offseason. I think they moved in the right direction, though, in terms of a lot of the front office and coaching staff changes, but they can't really shake that dysfunctional franchise vibe, just like the Bulls or someone like that. Number 2, I have the Grizzlies sticking with their original draft pick, Ja Morant. Ja Morant, obviously winning Rookie of the Year. It's hard to not put him in number 1, but it is nice to see that a 1-2 combination in the draft actually ended up holding true of kind of the talent that they bring to the table. There was some uncertainty about Ja Morant coming into last year's draft, just because he was a Murray State point guard. It was one season breakthrough that really elevated him to that level, and he was such a high usage player at Murray State. It was hard to tell how a lot of his numbers were going to translate, but he ended up being a very much a plus player with the Grizzlies. Shot about 48% from the field, about 34% from 3. See how that improves from there. Advanced metric, and he averaged about 18 points per game. Really helped push the Grizzlies to the playoffs along with Jaren Jackson, Brandon Clark. That Grizzlies young core is really good, and I don't think they would trade that second pick for anything. Maybe Zion. Number 1, I have the Pels sticking with their original draft pick, Zion Williamson. The injury concerns are obviously going to be something to watch over the long haul, but Zion is obviously a game changer for them. I don't think you pass up on him if you have the chance over there again. Even in the limited work that he got, about two dozen games played in the regular season, averaged about 23 points per game, about a little over 6 rebounds, and then about 2 assists. A lot of the potential that people knew he had at the NBA level, he showcased right from the get-go when he was given a chance. And there's a lot of pluses from his game, too. I don't think anyone expected him to shoot about 43% from three. Granted, on limited looks after kind of that weird streak he had. I think he made his first 4 or 5 3-point attempts in the NBA. But he's turning into a threat from all over. Just depends on if he can stay healthy and if the Pelicans can continue to build a good young core around him, which I think they will. They have a lot of pieces they can use. So that's pretty much it for my NBA redraft. I think there's a lot of interesting movement just kind of around picks like 4 through 12 or through maybe 4 through 14. The late lottery was not the best from this draft class, even like the kind of the picks of like 4 through 10. So like I said, there could be a lot of movement there. And it was just kind of a weird season. So I think it's fun to take a look back and see how things shook out. But anyway, that is pretty much it. See ya.